Hey there, anyone else there? Hey, Margaret,
Hello, Richard.
there's the two of us here.
Let me reach out to, oh, there he is. Yay.
Hey, Art. Hey, Art, is your CSA open this year?
Looks like he's still connecting.
Art, you could need to unmute yourself. Is your
Art?
CSA open this year?
We're not doing one this year, no. We've taken a couple of years off. I'm painting the house and doing a little bit of restoration work on the barns. So it's, we're still doing the maple syrup, but that's about it for the farm. Hopefully when we get caught up, we'll get back on the CSA vegetable cut flower bandwagon.
So the only thing you're selling is the maple syrup right now.
Right now, yep. And we hope to get back, get the hay fields back into shape, start baling some hay again. It's been a few years, so they're getting a little brushy. So we got to start cleaning them up too.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Not bad. How's everybody doing? I look like I'm been mowing the lawn. I've been mowing the lawn.
I don't know. You look like you're headed out to do some ethnic dancing or something.
Ugh, my wife's trying to kill me.
I sincerely wish I could go mow the lawn, but instead I'm stuck with having someone else do it for me.
I have a number of investment properties, so I do them all, and it gets old. Believe me.
You know, it's funny. Every time I go by a house in Mansfield that has a new for sale sign, John, I think of you because you had floated out several years ago now that you were interested in buying some additional properties there. So every time I see one, I think of you, although I'm sure you're probably not looking to buy more, but.
Well, we're finishing up one right now on actually 44 at Ashford that's rented next year to graduate students, which is wonderful. And then we have 3 other ones that do quite well for us with students also. So
Great.
and I told Mary, I said, unless something falls in our lap, let's take a year and not buy a house for a few.
Hey, John, there's a guy that I've been using to do work around the house.
Yep.
He's Stan Maryanifov. He's got his own little apartment and property maintenance firm and does pretty good work.
I'd love his contact information. I've got a pretty good guy by the name of Jim Kelly, who's very reasonable and can do everything that I can do everything. I just can't do it as fast as some of the contractors. So where I've got my daughter's reception for her wedding that took place last June, which got postponed, is on June 6th. We've got exchange students that were with us all through the high school years coming in, and plus a bunch of other friends coming in. So we're trying to find places for them all to stay. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks from now. So, but I think we're going to come in on schedule and everything's going to be fine.
Good. Well, if Stan can't do some of the stuff I need done, I'll reach out to you to get your guy.
Oh, fair enough. And then give me Stan's information so I can talk to him, please.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
So how many of us do we need for a quorum? 5 of us?
We need 5. So we
Yeah, I
have,
think we're good.
yeah, we have myself.
Maybe not. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1,
We need 1
2,
more.
3, 4.
No, there's 5.
We got 5. Mike, are you calling in from your car?
No, I'm home. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Megan?
Good.
Can we
Well,
get the two?
we should get at it then, since we have two guests here tonight.
Did everyone get the agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Need to kind of work through the specifics. I had screwed up when I issued the minutes from the last meeting, and I had put down approval of the minutes from March instead of April. So we need to amend the approval of the minutes to be those of April. Do we have a motion to do that?
Motion to amend.
I second it.
Okay, John C., Margaret, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Expenditures, I put through all the paperwork, Christina, to have you paid. Did that come through okay?
Yeah, it did. It was extremely efficient. So thank you to you and to, is it Cheryl who I interacted with, I think?
Yeah, yes, Cheryl Baker, she needed to get a some sort of number thing from
Yeah.
you.
Yep. And I was able to send it right back to her. And then I got a check in the mail a few days ago. So it worked out great. Thank you.
Okay, so I haven't got the most recent balance, but we still have another, I think, $1,000 or so worth of monies there in the account. So we can look at what the best ways that we can do to do that. John, that looks like a after hours drink you've got there.
No,
it's
just water.
lemonade.
Okay,
One of the benefits of a Zoom meeting.
Yes.
okay. Can we have a motion to accept the budget review?
Motion to accept the budget review.
Okay, we got John. Second,
Oh, I second it.
Margaret again. Okay, announcements. I don't have the entire details of it, but apparently there is an effort within the town to try to open the town hall and other buildings. It seems to be going at a snail's pace. I'm told there will be a explanation of what's going on in the next citizen. But basically it'll be that if you want to see the town clerk, you call up, make an appointment, and then go in and see them. But it will not open up the commission's room. It'll not open up in general Knowlton Hall, the senior center, or the large conference room downstairs. So the town will essentially be still doing everything via Zoom meetings. Anyone hear anything different than that?
No.
So we're pretty much on the road to doing what we're doing right now for the foreseeable future. Okay, so we've got Mark, John R, John C, and Mike. Okay, Margaret, you had suggested that we bring Art Talmadge on to talk about how
Yeah.
the EDC could work with the Ag Commission to
Well,
try to open up
yeah.
things.
Yep. So I was on a couple of different meetings with Art recently having to do with agriculture, one creating a brand for Northeastern Connecticut agriculture enterprises. And then on, I don't know, I guess we were on a couple of those calls, and it struck me that there were a number of other Ashford farmers also on this meeting. who I had never met before. And I thought that it might be great to invite Art as the chairman of the Ag Committee to kind of give us a little bit of an update on the status of sort of ag businesses in town. What are some of the new ones? What are some that are still sustaining, and just see if we should open up some discussion about some things that might be advantageous to the ag world. And Art, please remind me of the name of the couple that bought Tom Lockman's farm right near Extra Mart below on Cushman Road.
Doug and Ginger Jenny.
She mentioned in one of our calls that they're putting in a net zero greenhouse of some kind. Is that correct?
They have. It's up and functioning. Yes.
And I really felt like that was an important thing for us with our website and maybe some press to highlight, if we're trying to highlight businesses doing innovative things in town. So with that, I'll just sort of turn it over to Art, maybe to give us a little bit of an update on the world of agriculture.
So
Art, the person that was doing that was Doug Jenny?
Doug Jenny, yes.
Okay, yeah.
He designed it and built it himself. So the call that Margaret and I were both on, and Sherry, my wife, and Ginger Jenny, and Nick and Dee from Bottle Farm down here at the corner, we're also there. It's a Yukon Extension grant to try to expand sales, local sales for local farms in Northeast Connecticut. What they found is that our area is lacking in sales, direct sales from farmers to local people. When we were doing farmers markets heavy, we traveled. We couldn't do too well at the Ashford Farmers Market, so we were going to Hartford, we were going to Old Saybrook, and we found that it was worth the drive. So that's one of the reasons for this grant project. And what it's kind of morphed into is they're trying to give a brand to the local farmers that they can get behind, that also the local consumer can get behind. And so they're coming up with words and logos, and they really haven't nailed on anything yet, but the common theme seems to be the history of agriculture here in Northeast Connecticut is very deep, and that it's kind of it's homegrown, as in it's agriculture defines your neighborhood, right, where you live, and so that's where they're trying to take it. So it's kind of a support your neighbor kind of thing. At the same time, the history runs deep, and there are some very unique and productive farms here that a lot of people don't know about. And as in what Margaret said about Doug and Ginger, or the people she met at the meeting. So it's and that's interesting because at the Agriculture Commission we have the same problem. We have posted ads in the Citizen, on Facebook, all over the place, done phone calls, trying to make a list of who's doing what here in town. We've got the 490 list from the assessor. We've gone through that, and a lot of that's outdated, or just somebody who has a hay field that they lease or something, and it's hundreds and hundreds of names. So it's difficult. Everybody's private, and no one wants to. There are people that I'm the chairman of the Agriculture Commission. I drive down the road. There's a farm down the street. I have never talked to those people, and they've never talked to me. And so it's true old Yankees. They do their thing, and if they're doing okay, then they're good. They don't want you poking around. So it's interesting. So to try to get your thumb on who's doing what here in town hasn't been easy. So and we keep trying. So
Art, we have a Facebook page, Our Town, Our Future.
yeah,
And we tend to spotlight different businesses in town.
yep,
We could, do something that emphasizes, the agricultural aspects of town. And we do get quite a bit of hits. I think, Mike, correct me on this, but last time I checked, we had like over 400 follows on that page.
Yeah, I think we've probably not as many lately, unfortunately, but yes, we had around 400.
And I just recently, with the launch of the new EDC website, I did a boost on that. And yes, Christina, thank you. We've got a really great EDC website now where we're uh, featuring different things. Matter of fact, our featured business on the website is Sean Patrick and his activity, which is a farm activity. So, we could easily, take and put up things that would feature some of the local farmers on that website.
So that would be good if you could get them to get. I know everybody who's on the commission would be happy to send you the information for you to get out. But Margaret made a suggestion about trying to highlight what certain people are doing. What the Ag Commission is doing this summer is we're holding our meetings on members' farms, and we had one just last week was on Luther and Meg's Brow's horse farm. Everybody knows who I'm talking about, the old dairy farm over on
Bill Parody's farm.
yeah, Bill Parody's place.
Wormwood
Yeah.
Hill. Yep.
Yeah, they've invested quite a bit of money in there to have their horse boarding and training facility. It's top notch. Meg is known around the world for her training techniques and abilities. So that was an interesting tour. Luther's in the process of converting a lot of the corn land to hay, and he's establishing quite a large hay forage production business, both haylage, dry ground bales, and dry square bales. So that's what one farm's doing. And we talked about Doug and Ginger. Nick and Dee down at the corner, they're primarily raising goats and pigs for meat and fleece skins, I think. They make a lot of bone broth and lard. So that's what they're doing. So we're trying to highlight each other's farm too. And it's good to get other farmers to look at your place, because often they'll see something you think you're doing wrong and you're doing right, or something you're doing right that you're actually doing wrong. It's always good to have different eyes. So it would be good to try and do that, to try to highlight places. And maybe if you could have at some point in time, and I don't know how receptive the farmers would be, to have like a farm day where everybody could go visit their farms. I don't know when that would be, probably best in the fall when the colors are bright on the leaves. And that seems to be the time everybody wants to get out, maybe part of a Walktober thing. But yeah, so it's to get people out there to see what they're doing is, even if it's through the website or in a field visit, I think is the way to go. So tracking these people down is going to be the first step.
I think if you could come up with an event, we could absolutely put it forth on the Our Town, Our Future website, which we kind of use as a combination EDC, Our Town, Our Future, and other things. But we could put those things up there, and then we would be willing to do a boost, which would get more people to look at it.
Mhm.
We did that with the launch of the EDC website, and I think we reached like 700 or 800 people in town.
Nice.
So I know that the Ag Commission does not really have a presence on Facebook at all.
We talked about it, but it's no one really will commit to the time it takes to a Facebook or Instagram account. It has to be monitored almost constantly for spammers and content being posted on there that you don't want on there. So it's,
But a lot of these farms have their own social media pages. So there's no reason why if Bottle Farm, had a release of, new pork, just harvested, lots of pork to sell, that we couldn't be sharing that out on Our Town, Our Future, right? So I think it's what Art's saying, it's identifying who these folks are, what are their social media presence so that we can support them. I do like the idea of, if we could come up with a farm day, because sometimes if you promoted that, it might bring a few more farms sort of out of the woodwork, and you would really only need about 6, right, to really feel like there was an event there. And, some of them could be tree farms. It could be, Sean Patrick's might play. I mean, you might have a few other, even, it'd be nice. Is Tom still milking cows? Are the Knowltons still milking cows?
they had, a while ago, they had sold their herd. Now, I
Okay.
don't know if they have them back yet or not. I haven't heard one way or the other. I
But
knew they
even-
wanted to, and they
Yep.
had some potential sales to a cheesemaker, which would have been a small, high quality amount of milk sold to them. But I don't know what's happened, and I haven't
Yeah.
driven by there lately to see if there's any cows there. I haven't heard one way or the other.
But even, people who might have some beef animals, I'm thinking about, Ray Molnar, maybe, he would be willing to be on a tour, because I think it's interesting for people to understand how people manage farms that are non-traditional farms. And that's why the greenhouse piece would be nice. So, I think, I know it's a lot of work to coordinate such a thing, but it might be something to kind of shoot for, and maybe it's something that we could assist with from an economic development perspective. And we've got a little bit of money. I don't know whether you guys are given a little bit of a budget through the town as well, but we could potentially help promote it a little bit.
I was wondering if we got the word out through the Ag Commission to the ag community, however best we could, if we could maybe partner and say, hey, you let us know who you are, we can hook you up with the EDC, and they will advertise you on their website and their Facebook page. But we need to know who you are so we can make that connection. Would that be
Yeah.
something we could do first? And then when we know who we have, who's willing to do it. I know some of the more traditional people, you mentioned Ray Molnar, we called him and begged him through Christine Knowlton to try and get him to come to a meeting, and he wouldn't come. So it's I laughed. It's funny now. It used to be, I used to pull what little hair I had out of my head to find out who these people are. But some people just don't. They don't. Some people are in. They are in, and everybody, and you're either in or you're out, and there's no in between. So that's
Well,
just.
obviously, the opportunity for launching this new brand, once this branding and this logo is set upon, and I don't think it's going to take that long for it to develop into something that's going to be ready to launch. I mean, it would be nice to kind of tag team with whatever Yukon Extension's doing to promote this new, this new branding, and to talk about it from an EDC perspective and what the branding means, and look for it at your local. And I think too, just promoting, these are farms that you can stop and buy things at, like Bottle Farm. You could stop there and buy some pork from them directly. Other farms, you got to go find them at the farmer's market, but that's okay, just to help with that. So what is it that Bottle Farm bottles at Click? Is that their?
That's where they render and make their broth and their lard.
Okay, so it's that broth is what they bottle in those little.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I recently looked at their website, and most everything was not available. And since you and I are both neighbors of them, I cringe when I see the piles of dried brush as I drive by there. It's just waiting for a massive fire at some point in time. Does anyone
It's
talk to
true.
them about
I-
that?
They are well aware. Yeah, it's just how they're doing it. They know it's a problem, and their focus is elsewhere. So,
Yeah,
and I cringe too, right? Because as the chairman of the Agriculture Commission, I want all my farms to be perfect when someone in town drives by them. And when you see somebody who, I can't fault them, it's just how they're doing things. It is cringeworthy, and I don't. There's not much you can do about it. It's just how they're going about business.
but at some point in time, the fire marshal is going to probably knock on their door.
And maybe he should. They know.
Well, thank you for coming and for, kind of brainstorming with us a little bit. And, I think, I guess the question on the Jenny's net zero greenhouses, what we might do in the short run to kind of focus on that, and whether they become the next focus business, that Christina does on the EDC website, talking about that. And how do you think would be the best way for us to go about finding out more information about what they're doing there?
So what the Ag Commission is going to start doing is we're going to start writing an educational article every month for the citizen. And I certainly will bring that up at the next meeting and mention that maybe that should be the focus of one of the articles. And I'll talk to Doug and Ginger and see if maybe they want to do something more as far as having a tour or writing an article for the EDC and explaining what they did and how it works. And then you guys could put it out on your website as well. I think anything that we can do together like that to promote, even if we're doing it same thing in a little different direction, is good. Getting information out is good for everybody. And
What we did with Sean Patrick this past month, we could do the same thing with Doug
Sure.
and Jenny. So if you provide us with the raw materials, I'm
Yep.
sure we can find a way to put it up.
Sure.
The other thing that would be really good is if you could do something like we have right now, the artist collectives going around town, looking at different artist studios.
Yep.
Do something like that as an event for the ag community.
Yep.
We could promote that on Facebook, and I would be willing to, spend some money to boost it. And that would be an event that could, hopefully generate a lot of traffic to your farms.
That's a good idea. Maybe we should think about maybe trying to target a day in the fall or next spring. Everybody's busy now, so it's a tough time to try to pin somebody down on a day. So fall tends to be a better time for most people to want to give tours of their farm. If you're a summer crop farmer like we were, October was always great for us to have people here to walk around.
Okay, so as action items from this, you're going to reach out to Doug.
Yep.
And get something from him that
Yep.
we can put on the EDC website. And then long-term, we're going to sponsor an event that will be a tour of the farms.
Okay. And I'm going to bring up at the meeting too, if you wanted to promote something on your website, I could just tell whoever's at one of the meetings, if they wanted to get some additional promotion for their farms, whenever they had something special going on or something, they could just send it to you and you could post it up for them as well as them posting it themselves. Is that a possibility?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that too.
I have a quick question. How many active or registered farms are there in Ashford?
I don't know. It changes. You watch the Ashford Community Connections page,
Yeah.
and there are so many people on there who have something for sale, eggs or vegetables or seedlings or something like this, and it changes every day.
Well,
And
what
somebody got something
constitutes a working farm then?
Well, it all depends. Technically, it is any agriculture you do for money is a working farm, right? Is a commercial farm.
So it's not dollar value driven.
Well, but it depends. So dollar value driven, if you want to get the 490 agricultural property tax abatements, now the assessor has a income level standard for that. If
Okay.
you want to get the farmer's sales tax exemption, which is a state tax exemption, that's income level as well. That's $2,500 a year or $5,000 averaged over 2 years, which you apply for every 2 years. So it is, the definition depends on what you want to do.
It's a moving target. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have a question as well.
sure.
Is there an opportunity here if there's a number of these farms that have outlets or selling things at their farms for this to kind of fall under the tourism guys, and we could promote it that way? If we could bundle all the farms in Ashford that are selling something at their actual farm, then we could put together that as a tourism kind of activity and promote it that way. And some of the work that Margaret, I guess you've been involved with the Wyndham Chamber on, is that an opportunity to explore?
It is, but everybody, most of the people we're working with, it's so, it's another moving target. Like we were talking about Bottle Farm. They just were at Click the other day for all day long, bottling their broth and rendering their lard. So now they've just come in with a boatload of broth and lard. So to try and say, go here into a publication that goes all over the place, that's a year-round thing, and say Bottle Farm has broth and lard, somebody may go there and they may not have it. So it's a lot of farmers are a little hesitant to get that pinned.
But on a local level, if we did it more as a series of Ashford-based itineraries.
Right.
So if you're coming to visit the Hole in the Wall Gang camp, or you've come to Yukon to check it out for your child, and you're looking for something to do in Ashford, here are some itineraries, and it's a combination of a few different free things, maybe some trails to hike and whatnot, but then it could be, and while you're here, be sure you stop at Bottle Farm and pick up some fresh pork to take home, or go to Fallsgraf Farm and pick up some herbs, and so.
With the caveats to always call ahead to make sure that they have stock.
Exactly. Yeah. And to, check on hours, because like Sean Patrick's isn't open year round. They're open, when there's plants to sell. So that's the kind of thing we're thinking of, Art, is just on a very localized level as a way to highlight the businesses that we do have that might serve someone passing through. And then to your point also, if we do launch this new brand, maybe it's worth us investing either with or without the ad commission, but maybe we then buy a few full page ads in the Citizen, that talk about this new brand, or show, highlight the new brand, and then the businesses, that fall under it.
It does dovetail nicely with the farmers market phenomenon that seems to be very popular, and I think it's a good way to keep promoting that as well.
Art, a question for you.
Shoot.
You were not very positive on the farmers market. Why is that?
We didn't do well there. We didn't. And we actually, Sherry and I were the first market masters there when it started back up many years ago it was.
Yep.
And we just I don't know. We couldn't make it work. And we went for a while and came home wondering why we went. And we had to, when we started to branch out and go to other markets, man, we were doing 5 farmers markets at one time, and we finally got into Old Saybrook, and we were able to drop 4 and make the same money at the end of the week. So it was simply sales. And I don't know if it's changed. It's been so long since I've even been there.
Was it just volume of people or what?
It was. They're just, the people weren't there and were unwilling to spend the amount of money that we needed them to. So it was, and you know, a lot of people, and so this is an interesting thing. It's to sell the community, you have to understand that the farms are the community. So you need to understand that you have to support the farms, but you can't pay Stop and Shop price, right, for what I bring to the market. So it's so that's what we were running into, and we just couldn't make it work. So I don't know what everybody else is doing now. I haven't talked to anybody that goes there. I
think that would be just as an advice on your side to look into it. I do know that the late Cal Falsgraf totally was against the Ashford Farmers Market, and he went to every place but that.
But there are farmers who are supporting it. I mean, obviously the Barton Farm people must do okay there because they've now done it several years. It's just they're not Ashford farmers, but you know, I don't know that we have a lot of Ashford producers who exhibited our farmers market, but I would hope that it must be lucrative for the farmers who have come back a few years. So
farmers markets are interesting. They are, the market master controls them, and it is when we were running it, you try to make sure you have one person who does their thing, and then multiple people who do different
things.
And you don't, and it's hard. You want to try to avoid having 3 people all doing the same thing, and because it just then there's no choice, there's no diversity, there's so it can become kind of what people will think is cliquey, because if you're a savvy market master, you have your set crew, you have your set farmers, and even if you live right next door to the farmers market in Ashford and you're trying to get in, but you're selling beef and they've got a beef guy, then they're going to say, no, we got a guy, and we don't need you. So we don't want to water down our choices. So from a vendor standpoint, farmers markets are tricky. I prefer them because it's versus a CSA, because I pick it and I sell it. The CSA, it's sold in advance, and it almost seems like I owe you money, and that's a psychological problem for me. I can't owe you. I take your money for something I hand you, but I can't try to fill that back up. So it's so that's hard for me. So it's but markets are tricky.
But as an aside, we go down to the farmers market down in Nathaniel Hale, and that is just a phenomenal place.
That's in Coventry?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, now that was a marketing genius when they started that market. That was just, it outgrew itself. And when Winter Kaplanson was running it, that was just, and we tried to get in there and we couldn't get in because other people are already doing what we do. So that's just the name of the farmers market game.
Okay, hey Art, we really appreciate you taking the time, coming out and talking to us.
Sure, anytime. And I'll do those 3 things. I will talk to Doug about getting you guys some information on the greenhouse. We'll start working on some sort of ag day. And what was the 3rd one? Forgot. Oh, getting farmers to send you the information for you to post on your website and Facebook page.
Yep.
That's
we're more than willing to try to promote agricultural business. We're not just about doing a traditional business in town.
Sure.
We're for agricultural business too.
Hey, Dick, agriculture is the traditional business in town. So.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, but do keep us posted too, Art, if I get out of the loop on the branding piece, because I do think that that's a really interesting story and a really great story for us to share in order to support it. If we're trying to get local people to support local businesses, right? And that's what the branding is all about, the whole local farmers. I think we should get behind it as an EDC.
So we had the second meeting of what they proposed, and we narrowed it down to one artwork type, and they're going to work with that. And so it's been narrowed down a little farther. So just to let you know.
Yeah, great.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
Thank you, everybody. We'll be in touch.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank
Art.
you, Art. Okay, we're on to item 6C, number 2, rewrite and land use regulations. I have been doing my darndest to try to push that forward. Been kind of slowed down a little bit lately, but we are moving forward on that. The idea is to get something in place for exit 72 that would be more inclined with what is being proposed there. I hope to have something out personally by the time we have the next meeting, which will be second Tuesday of next month, second Monday of next month. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, going on to the ABA update. John, you're the one here, and Christina, you can ring in too. What's happening with the ABA? Any chance that we're going to have car shows again?
I don't know, to be perfectly honest with you. Christina, we've sort of not been meeting all that much. I mean, I know I haven't been attending. Christina's been to a couple, virtual meetings, but she might have more.
Yeah, so the latest, we were supposed to have a virtual meeting on Tuesday. Oh, this is my daughter poking her head in. So we were supposed to have a virtual meeting on Tuesday. The president of the ABA, Tom, was not feeling the virtual meetings, and they were low attended.
Yeah.
So he was like, let's cancel it and plan for an in-person outdoor meeting in June. So we're supposed to do that. Hopefully the first week of June, have a meeting in person for the first time in over a year. And hopefully get some momentum going from that. But the last I heard about the car cruises was sort of, well, first of all, I mean, Terry Pelletier is the guy who's really the driver, literally the driver.
Yeah.
He's sort of the driver behind that. And he has not been able to participate in the virtual meetings. And so I don't know anything beyond, I don't really know what's going on with him. But so maybe in June we'll be able to get some momentum going. There are lots of activities happening outdoors, even indoors. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to hold a car cruise. It's just whether people are comfortable organizing it. We'll see.
My 2 cents worth on that is Greg Beck's been doing some landscaping work for me, and we were talking about it. And I think there's a large portion of the ABA membership that are not really Zoom friendly, and they really want to get together in person. And his comment is, let's just go someplace in a field and meet, and then figure out what we're going to do.
That sounds like that's the plan for June. So
I mean, you can go to Ashford Park and sit outside there, and there's plenty.
Yeah, we're actually going to do it at one of the members' barns.
Yeah. So I think the success for the ABA is really the in-person networking. And in absence of that, I think you're going to have atrophy. So I would emphasize finding a way to get back to doing that. And I'm pretty much disappointed with the approach of the Midway on this stuff lately. So that's kind of interesting, and that they're not interested in having anything to do with the cruises. My personal 2 cents worth was, it seemed like that was one of the biggest money makers for them in the past.
Well, there was some falling out at the last show with the Midway folks.
What?
There were some
what was it?
issues there were some issues that happened at the show. So
Misbehavior or what?
well, I wasn't part of the discussion, but from what I understand, he didn't sort of agree with some of the things we wanted to do and stuff like that. So we felt it was, because we had planned to go to St. Philip's. That was what we were going to do last year. And we had it all lined up, but then, obviously with COVID.
Well, that's certainly their prerogative. I mean, and
Yep.
and it worked
It's their
there
business,
for
so.
several years. So,
Yep.
if it has to take on a different iteration, that's all good.
And
Yeah,
the church
so-
changed their mind because?
Excuse me?
The church changed their mind because?
COVID.
I know, but I thought something else came up. It wasn't just COVID?
Yep,
No,
last
it
year.
was just COVID.
And then,
The diocese, I think the priest, the story as it was relayed to me is the priest was getting the message from the diocese as recent as April. We're prioritizing, the church services, and that's the risk that we're accepting, and we're not doing anything beyond that,
All tied to COVID.
What's that?
All tied to COVID?
Correct. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so if COVID does continue to lighten up, we can have that as a venue potentially for the car show?
Yeah. Hold on. Sorry.
If
Sorry,
the
my
COVID
husband's
situation-
using the ice maker right when I'm supposed to talk. So,
If the COVID situation keeps improving, is the Ashford Church still a potential venue for the car shows?
I would think so, but I really don't know. I haven't spoken to anybody at the church, and I haven't spoken to Terry, so I really don't know. But in theory, yes.
One of the things that probably should be looked at, Ashford Park has got gobs of room and facilities, and it's a town facility. It should be open to doing something like this. So there's plenty of places in town that the ABA could do this besides the Midway or the St. Philip's Church.
I think
So-
one of the problems was that Terry's wife had to have an indoor bathroom, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
well,
correct.
one of the big problems we run into is, even though they do it at other car shows, they do not want to be on grass or dirt. A lot of car folks, we have tremendous amounts of problems getting people to park off the tar when we do the show at Midway. And I can't imagine trying to get them to go down to Memorial Park. I know they do it up in Pomfret, at Pizza 101. But it's just a weird thing. We talk about that all the time, and it's an ongoing issue. So we're sort of looking for places where there is tar. But we'll see. I'm not committee. That's Rich Austin and Kerry and Mike Kovarovics and those guys. So, or it could have run its course as well too. It could have just. I know it was. And Christina can attest to this. I think there was questions on whether we wanted to continue, because it was the same 12 people doing it every time and all that other stuff. So, but that's, I guess we'll know when we have our next meeting.
Yeah, we'll know better after June, it
Yeah,
sounds like.
Yep.
Okay, moving on. Old business with the marketing communications. I'm not sure we have anything to talk about there.
Well, perhaps just, and maybe this is part of the Christina conversation, but just thinking about using the website, as a marketing tool, and who we might want to line up a couple or three businesses, kind of get them in the queue, right? Because you know that sometimes it takes people a while to pull their story and their information together. I mean, we've got this Jenny's, the Jenny's in their greenhouse story, but I'm wondering what other business or two, we should think about it. And I mean, we can certainly pull some things together at Westford Hill to plug in. I also wonder about, folks like Cool Grind or, I know Yeagel's, had some focus previously, but, if anybody has any other feelings about who else we might be wanting to give a little boost to at this point.
Margie, I could talk to Christy down at Muddy Feet Flower Farm, right down here. Should they just they tore down the old barn, put up a brand new barn.
Yep.
So that might be, I mean, they're not totally finished with the barn yet, but I could talk to her, see if she might want to.
It would be nice, actually, thinking about the Art Talmadge conversation we just had, to get, Christy on as part of a farm tour, along with some of these other farms. I mean, that would be, but that would be good.
John, what was the name of that person?
It's Christy Borello, and it's Muddy Feet Flower Farm on Amadon Road. Right down the street from me.
Another company I think of is Toolmax. That's up there at where that fireplace place used to be. That kind of manufacturing is
Hot.
that really generates tax dollars, manufacturing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like they are not doing all that well. I've been meaning to stop by and see what they're going on, because the number of cars in the parking lot is much less than it was when they first opened. And I think they're tied a lot to the subcontracts to the Pratts and the Sikorsky's and what used to be Hamilton Standard, now whatever it's called. So they seem to be in business, but not as thriving as they were when they started out. Because when they started out, they had help wanted signs out front. None of that right now.
Aerospace is coming back, Dick. A lot of my big OEMs are coming back strong, so I think it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, Woodcraft did a big job fair a couple of weeks ago. They're looking for help. So I think if they're still have a sign, a shingle hung out, I think it'd be great. I think a lot of people are curious about what they make there, right? I think that's, that would be great. So.
Yeah, we had talked, Mike and I had talked about doing a special on them on the Our Town, Our Future site.
Well, and this is where we can dovetail, right? Where if we write about it on the website and you've put that work in to write that story for the website, then you put it on social media, and cross promote it. I mean, use it in a couple of places.
If I may interrupt, Dick, do we have anything that we need to vote on? Because I've got my daughter here and they want to unload something and I'm the fork truck in the house. So I want to
I think there's no major votes, John.
Okay, then if I may ask permission to leave early, I'd appreciate it.
Do we still have a quorum?
1, 2, 3.
You need 5?
Yeah.
No, if I leave, no.
Keep your phone on, John.
Yeah, if we need something, we'll buzz you.
I've got my phone. If you need something, call. How's that?
Okay.
Fair enough?
It's a
Sounds
plan.
good.
No, I've got my wife driving me nuts and we've got a lot going on. So if you need something, call and I'll be available. Okay.
Yeah, just leave it on, John, so it's like you're there.
I'm not on the phone though. I'm on the computer.
Well, leave it on.
Okay, you got it. All right, thanks.
Hey, thanks for coming.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, moving on. Christina, got a lot of good feedback on the website, and thank you so much for all the work you did, put it up.
Oh, happy to do it.
one of the things I have a question for is how do we make updates to it?
Well, I guess it depends on what route you want to go. You can do it yourself or it's pretty user friendly if you're used to using a WordPress site. Or you could ask me to do it and we could figure out an arrangement, if you, let's say theoretically, you get something from one of the farms and it's completely written and done and it has a photo and you say, okay, Christina, can you post this? That would take me 15 minutes to do if all the work is done. That's not a big investment of time. If you wanted me to edit something, that's going to take, an hour. If you want me to write something from scratch, depending on the extent of it, that could take anywhere from, an hour to 4 to 6 hours, depending. So I guess it depends on what approach you want to take. It also, we could do something where I just sort of keep track of my hours and then bill, I just give you a heads up like, okay, I've done 5 hours. Do you want me to keep doing something to keep working or have I exhausted the budget? So I guess it just depends on what approach you want to take.
What I would ask is, why don't you send us a proposal for a long-term maintenance issue on so much per hour?
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. I think too, do you have a sense, like I could go, my background is in business writing. So like writing profiles of businesses and taking photos is something that I did professionally for many years. So if you said to me like, Christina, we want an article about such and such business, like I could do that, but it would probably take, you're talking about at least 4 hours. That's $65 an hour. That's a bigger investment than, rewriting some bullet points that somebody sends. So do you have a sense of, do you want to, invest that kind of time to do original reporting for these pieces? Or is it something you want to be maybe like a little lower maintenance might be the way to put it?
Yeah, I don't think that we're looking for complete articles because again, I think, a few paragraphs about businesses because you put their website link and then people can go to their own website, right, to the business's website for the full story. So it's really just the highlight piece, and it's literally, I think 5 or 10, 10 sentences. It's not necessarily
right.
And I think if we set ourselves a goal that over the course of the year, we wanted to feature like 8 different, once every 6 weeks, we maybe update and focus on somebody new and then find a way to capture the ones that we have focused somewhere on the website so that it's a cumulative thing. It doesn't just disappear after 8 weeks. It just goes down onto a page and you can still find them.
Yeah, the site is set up now so that would happen. So nothing disappears. It would just be on the list. So that's helpful direction. So I can keep that in mind when I put together a proposal. What you're describing is helpful.
Yeah, and Christina, we don't have Rayfan or Bob on tonight, but we do have this Connecticut tourism site that we're trying to populate. And that's another task that we could talk about. I don't know if you looked at what they were doing at all.
I did look at the site. It looks like, I'm trying to remember, you have to like register with them. And I wasn't sure if that had already been done. Like, has the town or has the Economic Development Commission registered with this tourism whatever, ctvisit.com, do you know?
I think so, because I think when we went on it not that long ago and kind of went in looking for Ashford, that there were a few of us on there. So I think somebody must have sort of organized the Ashford, but that's obviously something we've got to do first next. And I think too, then it's really up to businesses to compile and register their own businesses.
That's what I guess what I think there is the potential, if like the Ashford Economic Development Commission wanted to essentially act as like a tourism bureau that goes and does all of this listing for the local businesses. Like you could, in theory, I think, do that. Just like there's the Mystic County Tourism Bureau, and I'm sure they're facilitating making sure that all like Mystic Aquarium is, you know, well represented or whatever. Yeah, but I just don't know how far, if anybody, you know, sort of went down that rabbit hole, because I'm sure getting that set up would probably be an investment of time.
And if we haven't done it, I think that would be a great investment of your time. And then again, we could market that to our businesses. You know, here's something we're willing to do, or here's something that, you know, we have done, you just have to go and participate. So.
And what I would propose is we do that in conjunction with the ABA, since a lot of the businesses are part of the ABA. So the EDC could kind of take the lead, but we'd look for some financial participation from the ABA.
I think it would depend on how much the financial participation is, because I think the challenge you might face with the ABA is there's a significant portion of membership who would not benefit from that effort. You know, I could see, you know, if you're a woodworking guy, you're like, that doesn't do you any good. You know, if I'm a contractor, this ctvisit.com isn't going to do me any good. So that you might have a number of members who aren't as interested in it.
Yeah, I just throw that out there.
Yeah.
I think that the EDC is committed to try to promote the tourism. So we don't have either Bob or Ray on. Unfortunately, I've tried to get Ray and Gary Lawrence to acknowledge that Zoom exists. So far, it hasn't worked. I even sat down and worked through step by step with Ray. He doesn't want to do it. And then I talked to Gary, and Gary says, I do not do Zoom.
So
Well,
who would it have been who would have researched the CT Visit site? Who is that person?
So it's Bob Ignatowicz.
Okay.
But, you know, I'm on it right now looking at it, and, you know, we've got a few, we're on it, River's Edge, Baker Woods, and I'm not sure that they're in business anymore.
Yeah, they
and
still
then-
are, Margaret, they still are, but they're only open by invitation.
Okay, but you know, there's some of our restaurants are on there, and there is a town of Ashford, which they may have populated with some basic information. So I don't think that we've put on a robust representation of the town of Ashford, and there's a handful of attractions. But you know, Ashford Motel and Briley and Henrietta House are all on it. So
Can you email me the link to whatever you're looking at?
yeah, I went to ctvisits.com, and in the search bar, you choose Mystic Country, right? Because that's the group we're in, the region we're in. And then I just, in the search bar, put Ashford. So it's ctvisit.com.
And does it look like it's is it a landing page for Ashford?
Yeah, it says Town of Ashford, and then across the top are attractions. Below that is events, and below that is restaurants and accommodations.
All right. I'll look at it from there. and then see what's possible.
Yep.
And maybe
Christina,
reach out to Bob to figure out what he did or did not do so far.
and Christina, if you could kind of put together a proposal to do website plus this other stuff on an hourly basis, we could kind of put that forward for you.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I think it's just with the CT visit site, it's just going to be a little bit of research to figure out what's been done. And then I can give you a proposal once I get my arms around what's been done.
Yeah,
Or
and you can talk to Bob to find out what's been done and maybe even town hall. But the folks who are the contact information people on CT visits are really quick to get back by email. So you can ask them that open-ended question: how do we make our Town of Ashford page more robust? How do you get in there and tweak the copy, and how does all of that work? So they may give you sort of a tutorial on it, or it may even be on the site how to do it.
yeah, I mean, I did find stuff on the site, and it's a very lengthy. It's like an 80-page document. Like,
Yeah, it's robust. Yeah.
Yeah. Quite something. Anyway.
Okay. Mike, you've been very patient, and I'm not sure where this one fits in, but I guess it's in 6D. You put together a document that we could take to the town Board of Selectmen on what we might do as far as going forward for some grants.
Yeah, so we've kind of been doing a dance here of sorts, trying to determine what we want to do or not to do along the 74-44 corridor. I mean, there's been a number of efforts throughout the years, a visioning effort by even Ray with GVI like 15 years ago, and we had the Yukon kids through John Rettenmeyer's efforts to do a visioning. And we did the RSA, the road safety assessment. So we have a lot of potential opportunities or things that could be done there in a variety of potential outcomes. So I think we're kind of, to me, are at a crossroads to really determine what we're going to do next, or what we're going to do if we're going to do anything at all. So what I try to start to do is to kind of at least formulate kind of a more specific, focused information sheet on kind of what's out there as far as things we've talked about potentially as recommendations or opportunities or little projects or efforts, and then kind of to begin to see what's out there for funding levels. And the bottom line is kind of really the bottom line, in my opinion. If we're going to try to fulfill some of the visions of connecting Warrenville to West Ashford, if we're looking at some of the concerns with safety along Route 44, if we're looking at trying to create some form of a village area or a center or some sense of what Ashford is rather than just a speedway, then I think the reality, in my opinion, is it's going to cost the town of Ashford taxpayers some money, because there's a number of grant opportunities out there, and they're pretty generous, quite a few of them, and but it's a matter of the town's going to have to put up some money to get these things accomplished. And I've listed a few things that I started working on it. But I think between an effort between Our Town, Our Future and EDC, I think it's a matter of bringing it forward to the Board of Selectmen to kind of get some direction at this point, whether we're just chasing our tails, whether there's anything we should continue to pursue. I think at Our Town, Our Future, we talked about, there's a lot of things going on, obviously, with the economy and what really are the priorities in Ashford. Are the citizens going to be willing to spend money on, say, state road to do something that gives it better visual appearance and provides some sidewalks or bikeways or whatever, you know, for what versus the amount of investment there versus other benefits and needs. And
Did we lose Mike?
We might have.
okay, can you hear me?
Oh,
Yes.
there he is.
Yeah, we have a power outage here, so yeah, I'll keep it short. Kind of crossroads determine where we're going or not. In my opinion, we spend time trying to think we want to do something. It's not a reality at this point. So that's my opinion. I've sent something out to you on the EDC, members of the EDC, and also members of our Town of Future. See whether there's something we want to look at, talk about, or what we want to do to move forward. But my recommendation, at least for our Town of Future citizens, where we want to go with some of the things that have been identified and
So it looks like people are dropping like flies.
Yeah.
I guess the storm is knocking everybody out.
It does look that way. Yeah, Richard just went, so.
Right.
All right, well then I guess since I'm the last man standing, I think we should say that our meeting is adjourned.
I guess so. We can't.
Right.
Well, first of all, I can't vote, but
Right.
you can't vote because there isn't a quorum. So.
Oh, well. Just one last thing before I sign off. I would really love to run around when I have a few minutes and just keep snapping pictures of Ashford businesses and business fronts and some of this sort of crossroads kinds of messaging that we've got in the copy on the website as a way to sort of, again, if we're selling the community, the idea of kind of where we are and our proximity to other things. So I'm going to just sort of sporadically try to get out there and shoot some things and send to you, and then we can talk about how to incorporate them. So
Yeah, absolutely.
all right,
Whatever you got.
stay safe. See you
Okay.
later.
Yeah. I hope everybody keeps power.
Yeah, right. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Hey, guys, anyone still there?
can you hear me?
We just had the power go out here.
Everybody else because everybody, as much of us lost touch, but so I think everybody else except yeah. So yeah, sure, but put it out there, see what happens. Are you there?
I'm here, Mike.
I guess that's you and me.
No, my power went out, my generator kicked in, and there was a big lightning clap. So and I can hear the thunder outside like crazy. And the rain's coming down like
Still there, Richard?
crazy.
Group
You're there.
Second.
I think our technology for made John Reddeneyer's back.
Yeah, sorry, got knocked off with we had a power hit at the house.
Yeah,
We all did.
so did I. I'm currently on generator power.
Oh, yeah, we still have power. It just sort of hit quick and so.
One of my best investments was I bought a Generac standby generator,
Oh,
So-
okay, yeah.
and it's on propane.
Oh,
So-
nice.
So when it goes off, within 10 seconds, it switches over to be
Wow.
on. It was not cheap, but considering the fact that I couldn't wheel a generator outside by myself any longer.
Yeah. Yeah, I had Alex put in a switch in the house, but I run a 100-foot cord down to the barn. I have my generator in the barn, so I just have to get the cord out. But
Yep.
I got
That-
the house, but
That's what I had.
yeah.
The problem was I had to get it out there. Then I had to go out and buy the gasoline to power
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
Right now, it just sits out there. It's connected up to, 200 gallons of propane.
Yes. Oh, that's nice.
So it automatically goes on with no intervention whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was not cheap, but I
Yeah.
gotta tell you, at least I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Turning off. Turn off.
I don't know if you can hear the thunder out there, but it's going like crazy.
Well.
Hey, take care.
Yep. Yeah, it came back on right away. Oh, that was. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Brett, we're okay for now. Yeah, off and on, yeah. So. Okay. Oh, I see, okay. Okay. Oh, okay, okay,
You guys are still meeting?
okay, cool.
Ooh, there's one mother of a
I hope so.
thunderstorm coming our way.
Yeah, bye.
Dick, are you done or are you all still meeting?
Sorry, I'm back.
We were trying to meet, but I think a lot of us got kicked off. I'm on standby generator right now.
Yeah, we still have power, but we just had a close one at the house, so,
Yeah, it's acting up pretty good up there.
yeah. Yeah, we're fed off of 74, so we always go out.
Well,
And Margie's probably out if she's just up the road from me.
What I had put everything on my deck against the house, and hopefully nothing's blown away.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a quick passing storm.
Uh,
the only thing I'm worried about is I don't know if you guys Daryl from Image Plus had put out his Chaparral boat early last month, and I grabbed it right up because it was a beautiful boat. And
Ooh,
I've got a 16-foot aluminum step ladder sitting right next to it right now because I'm getting it ready for the water for the weekend. And I just
Oh,
hope I hope it's not a lightning rod.
no. That's all you need, John.
What a gorgeous, gorgeous old boat, though. I mean, it's a 1998, but it's got 185 hours on it, so it's brand new.
Wow. What kind of motor?
5.7, 350, 300 horse. So it's got he's got they put a tower on it so they can wakeboard, and it's
IO.
it's a IO. It's a 1930 special edition. They call it 1930. It's 19 feet 3 inches special
Yes.
edition.
Okay.
The interior it looks like it's showroom new. I mean, it's never been
Wow.
new. And he put it out and I grabbed it. I said, Daryl, take it off the market. I'll pick it up tomorrow. So
so
Wow, that's
John,
awesome.
it has a cabin inside?
no, it's a bow rider.
Oh,
It's a bow rider, but it's beautiful for our lake house up in the mountains, and it's something now you can take onto the ocean, because my old boat, which I miss, but I sold it to my nephew, was just it was basically a hot rod. It was an old Century, Ski Fury, so it was just a big inboard with lots of power, and it could pull tubes and skiers and everything. And what was nice, when the kids were growing up, my parents always had the big pontoon boats, so you could pull up next to that. That was your living room, and you take kids off and play.
Yeah.
Now Mary and I are getting older, and that was kind of tight, and you want to have a couple of couples out for an evening of just having a cocktail, watching the sun go down. It's a little bit more practical now to have this. Yet you can still do all the fun stuff and take it on the ocean.
Excuse me. Ugh.
I'm not sure what you're hearing where you guys are, but it sounds like one hell of a storm outside.
Yeah, it
Sounds like
is.
World War III.
Yeah.
I didn't think the Northeast was supposed to get whacked with it.
We're supposed to brushed. It's supposed to hit the Ellington area more, they said.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a northwest down through and kind of just miss us, or just a little bit of shower here. But this sounds like we're getting the whole 9 yards here.
Yeah. So
I wonder how bad the West got it. Well, as much as I enjoyed talking with you gentlemen, we have anything else to discuss?
I think we lost that quorum.
yeah.
Friday night, I got to go get myself another MRI.
How are you feeling anyway, Dick?
Not all that great. I went to see the doctor and surgeon, and he says, "Oh, the last MRI, I can't figure out what the hell's wrong with you." So
Is this still your back, Dick?
I'm here, honey.
yeah, well, it's the back and the legs.
Oh,
And basically, I stand up and I feel like my legs are jelly and no feeling, burning, whatever. So it just doesn't work too well.
no.
So I'm getting a MRI of my upper back Friday, and then I'm going in for a 2-level epidural on Monday.
Oh, boy.
And he thinks,
How's your muscle tone in your legs?
other than the fact that I ain't able to do much of anything, I'm able to walk, but with canes. So it's not it's not something I'm happy with at this point, but have to deal with it as I can.
Yep.
I hope you get better.
Me too. I one of the things that is really frustrating when you see all this crap going on, and you're trying to understand what's going on. And I'm even blessed by the fact I got a son who's a doctor, and we talk, and he says, just keep on going with what the surgeon is doing, and maybe he'll figure out what's going wrong with you. So
Oh, is it potentially nerve related, or do you not know for sure?
we really don't know. The only thing that seems to make any sense is the MRI of the back showed a bone marrow edema, which means that the bone is swelling, and that could cause some of this. So the epidural might help with that. So I'm hoping that's the case.
What causes bone swelling?
They went in there, did all this stuff.
Yeah.
And previously, when I had the surgery, he did the surgery, and boom, afterwards, I felt like, the curtain was lifted. This time it wasn't. It just wasn't there. So I talked to the surgeon. The only thing that I will say is positive is I shared all this with my son, who's an internist, and he says, Dad, he thinks he's doing the right things. We'll just see what happens from there. So it is really eye-opening. I mean, I got my Porsche sitting in the garage with a cover on it, sitting up on the blocks. And I don't think I'm going to put it on the road this year. So
That hurts.
it does. I mean, you say to yourself, okay, I get more frapping, not that I'm wealthy, but I get more money that I can spend. And you can't spend it if you can't do anything.
Yeah,
So
I understand that. But I'm 63, and I could have retired at 60, Dick. I'm going to announce my retirement at the end of the year, and I'm done next year. Mary and I are both going to we've traveled a lot. I'd like to travel a lot more. And I've got people to take care of everything here. And as you just said, if you've got the money, you might as well enjoy some of it. I mean, you really, I don't want to just be a statistic in a few years,
no, I mean, as I said, I'm confident we'll get to the other side of it, but it's pretty damn frustrating.
Have you not to question your surgeon, but have you thought about a second opinion?
Relying on my son, who's an internist, and he's a very, very on top of it doctor. He says, keep on going. But if this doesn't come up with something that makes sense, there's a spine center special hospital in Columbia University in New York. And I'm headed down there for a second opinion.
Yeah, don't let it go too long, Dick, because you want to enjoy your life. You don't want to be walking with canes.
No, I mean, one of the things, as I was saying, you can have all the frap money in the world, but if you can't enjoy anything, doesn't make a frap business whatsoever.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. That's why I'm going to retire and start enjoying life a little bit more. Not that we've had a wonderful life. I have no complaints at all. It's just that, my brother passed away at 57. I don't want to spend my life planning for retirement and then not enjoy any retirement. Too many people do that.
Go for it. Hey, thanks for staying on.
Well, I came back, but you have a good evening, and thanks for sharing. Have you heard anything about my neighbor since his wife passed?
Help me.
Mary Wakeman. What's his first name? He's on our committee.
Gary.
Yeah.
Gary. Not recently, but I did hear that his wife passed, so he's kind of backed off from things.
Yeah, she passed a few months back, and I was hard to hear that because she was a very dear friend. She was she took care of my first two shepherds, and she helped me put the first two of them down, and it was I always was very grateful for the way she handled that. So Anyway, you take care and don't wait too long for the second opinion. And I'm not a doctor. I'm just someone speaking from the gut because you deserve better. All right. Have a good night, Dick.